Yeah, I sent a reminder.
All right.
I just sent a reminder, so hopefully most of them are gonna join soon.
Okay, sounds good. We'll so let me display the agenda here on the screen so everyone can see. All right, we are good to go. All right, good morning, everyone. We appreciate you joining this morning. These months and days go by so fast, and it's amazing that we're getting ready to start November here tomorrow and get ready to start peak season here in a few weeks. And we want to continue our safety meetings, but also just drivers acting with good safety behaviors, applying what you hear in these meetings and the safety content that you get throughout the month. And of course, relying on the training that you receive when you went to, truck driving school. Hopefully these are just refresher topics and up-to-date items that we bring up in these calls, best practices, maybe situations you're not put in on a consistent basis, or some things you can apply to if you put in a situation, at least you've had some training, some awareness, some best practices that you can apply, which I think is always important. Some stuff you never use, but it's good to have an idea of what to do in a situation that you're not unfamiliar. So if you have any questions, like always, as we cover these topics and we discuss, feel free to unmute yourself, ask any questions that you may like, and I'm pretty sure we can get an answer for you. We have Mr. David Jackson here on the call. We appreciate him always providing his many years of insight in the trucking industry. And we're here to get some more information this morning. David?
How you doing? Good morning, everybody. Listen, we're going to be talking about a couple of different things that are they're not related, but they all are related in terms of safety. One of the things we're talking about now is wildlife. The deer season is rutting season from the middle of October. Actually, it's already started. There are certain states you go through, like Pennsylvania, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, where the deer are out trying to make babies, and the male deers are really, really sensitive about their territory. So they're kind of wild. But you got to keep an eye out on the side of the road while you're watching for animals. But the big thing is, in my career, I have killed Bambi's mother several times. Because one of the things you don't do is slam on your brakes. Okay, you want to ease on your brakes if you can, but you do not want to steer away from the animal to avoid hitting them. I know it sounds really cruel or whatever, but let's say you try to avoid hitting the animal, and the animal moves, but now you put yourself in a position where your trailer and your tractor are going to be snaking across the road, or you can run off the side of the road, or the back trailer can flip and roll. Okay, I've had that happen to a driver several years ago in Arizona, avoiding a coyote, and he avoided the coyote, but he flipped the back trailer. That's disqualification. So it sounds cruel to say that, but your best bet is to hit the animal and hope that it doesn't do too much damage to your vehicle. Okay? But slamming on your brakes is not a good idea for that. Now, if you can put your brakes on really carefully and not slamming on it, then you can do that. But be aware that there are animals, especially going through Colorado. If you go through Colorado, the bighorn sheep out there can really do a lot of damage to your vehicle.
Dave, I got a question.
Yes.
Now, if I'm a driver and I get I hit, say, an animal going down the highway, and there may or may not be damage to my tractor, do we have to call that in, or do we What's the
Yes.
proper procedure for reporting? And will that be considered a preventable accident?
It's an animal strike, and it's not preventable. It is an accident. That's one of the times when it really is. But you have to call in for anything. Let's say you tap your mirror on a tree limb. You have to call that in. Okay? They want to know. Several years ago, I had a driver who hit a sign, just tapped the sign with his mirror as he was leaving one of the terminals. But one of the managers saw it and reported it. He was suspended for 30 days. He could not drive for 30 days because of it. So your real issue is to report anything that you touch with your vehicle. It's not a big deal. Just call in and say, I had this, I had an animal strike. But if you have an animal strike, it is not, does not go against you. It's not a preventable.
Good deal. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, second one is fog. I'm going to start this one out with a story that happened to me some years ago. I was in a sleeper, and I had a new driver in the front, and all of a sudden the truck got very, very quiet. And we were driving, he was going 55 miles an hour was the speed limit back then. He was doing 55 miles an hour, but it got very quiet. And I knew that we were in fog because the fog suppresses the sound, the road sounds. And I opened the curtain, and I come out, look out, and it is just a fog blanket in front. Now he's still doing 55 miles an hour. And of course I scream and holler and say, you gotta slow down, way down. So we wound up actually putting our flashes on and going down about maybe 12 miles an hour. And as we're going down the road, there's a yellow light on the left. And we got almost equal to the front of the truck, and realized it was a police officer with a flashlight telling us to slow down. But in the fog, we could have hit him. And the reason we had to slow down, as it turns out, was a cattle truck had overturned, and there were cows all over the road because they got loose. So what I teach my drivers is, if you are in heavy fog, recognize that somewhere in front of you is a brick wall. You don't know where it is, but you don't want to hit that brick wall. If you go online, you will see many accidents where they're in fog, where there are 40, 50, 60 vehicles all slammed into each other because nobody paid attention to the fact that they were in fog. So what do you do when you're in fog? Okay. First thing is, if you have fog lights on your truck, turn them on. Turn your flashers on. Do not use your high beams. Your high beams will just reflect off the front of the fog, and all you will see is white. You will get very little detail. Your fog lights are down below your normal headlights, and they will reflect on the road to tell you where the road is. You put your flashers on because you don't know who's coming up behind you. Okay? And you want to make sure that they can see you. Okay? So the first thing is, again, reduce your speed for conditions. Like I said, if there's a brick wall that's been erected in front of you on the highway, you don't want to hit it at all. But you especially don't want to hit it at high speed. Use your low beams. Do not pass other vehicles. Okay? Listen for traffic you cannot see. Turn down your radio. Pay attention. Listen for traffic. Because you may hear the sound of other vehicles crashing into each other. And that'll tell you specifically what to avoid. During your pre-trip inspection, you should be checking that your windshield wipers are working very well and that your window defoggers are working well. During a fog, the fog it's heavy water. It can get inside your truck and give you a layer of moisture inside. You want to be able to use your defogger. That should be a normal process anyway. But make sure that those, before you leave, and especially in the winter, that your wipers and your defoggers are working, and use them. Don't stop on the roadway or the shoulder. Stop only at the appropriate parking facilities if you have that. Okay. As soon as if you can find a place to pull off, pull off. But you do not continue to run in the fog with your flashers on just because you want to keep going. You want to get off the road as soon as possible. If your vehicle stalls or becomes disabled, you have your warning signals. Do not try to put out your triangles because they can hit you in the fog as well. But pull over as far as you can and make sure you have all your lights on. If you can keep your brake lights on, keep your brake lights on. If you're in a new city and you don't know what's going on, you can call law enforcement and tell them where you are, or call them and ask them where the closest safe place is. Okay. Any other questions about fog?
No, we want to reiterate that, David, that I think it's a misconception that people believe, even when it's like hard raining, that it's hard raining, that they can just turn on the flashers and continue. But in meeting after meeting and research after research, they indicate that if conditions are so bad that you need to turn on your flashers, it means that you need to pull into a safe place. So same thing with the fog. If it's so bad that you need to turn on your flashers because it confuses the drivers that comes behind you, they think that you're stopped. The best thing it is, yes, you turn them on, your flashes, but you need to pull into a safe location. And as you mentioned, a safe location is not the shoulder. That's for emergencies. So we need to really ingrain that in some of the drivers who sometimes use the shoulder a lot. So please follow that rule. Okay, thank you.
There's a very dangerous thing about pulling over on the shoulder. Now, like I said, if you're disabled, you're going to have to pull over. But if you're not disabled, pulling on the shoulder of the road, many vehicles try to follow a truck in bad weather. And what you can do when you pull over is they're thinking that you're on the road, and they'll just follow you. And now you've got the good possibility that somebody will run into you. Even during good weather, you really don't want to sit on the side of the road. There are many police officers during the year. In fact, I think the last count that for this year, I don't know what it is for this year, but for last year, there were 55 police officers that were either killed or injured while they had cars pulled over on the side of the road. So that's the one thing you don't want to do, especially in that. Okay, it is not okay to drive with your flashers on. The only reason you have your flasher on is because you had reduced speed, and you don't want someone running into the back of you. But you cannot do not continue to drive just because you have your flashers on. You always need to look for some place to pull off, either an exit or a ramp or a parking facility, some kind of parking facility along the road. Okay, driving with your flashers on is not a thing to do normally. And FedEx has the thing: if the weather is that bad, get off the road, pull over. I tell my drivers if you can't drive, it's not safe, pull over and park it. I don't have a problem with that. There's nothing in the back of that truck that is worth your life or your disability.
Yeah, I think I added a couple articles. I don't know if I send them to you. Hopefully I did, Aaron, that says also indicate the states where having the flashers on in the rain or fog, it's illegal. So you need to know that as well. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna show that quick video you sent as well, in regards to that. So let me show that really quick here. Okay, you guys can see that.
Dense fog can form almost anywhere in the U.S., drastically reducing visibility to a quarter mile or less. This makes driving hazardous, sometimes causing multi-car pileups. It's best to be prepared. Here's how to drive in dense fog. Slow down. With visibility reduced, it's important to allow for increased reaction times and not rush. Keep a larger distance between yourself and other motorists, especially if the road is wet. You may be tempted to drive more closely to the car in front of you to keep it in sight, but this can increase your risk of collision. Turn on your low beam headlamps. High beams can cause light to reflect back off water droplets in the air, further obscuring your view. If your vehicle has fog lights, turn them on. They further illuminate the road when it's foggy and make you more visible to other cars. Always use your windshield wipers and defrosters in fog to help you see and reduce glare from oncoming vehicles. Roll down your window so you can hear what's happening around you when your visibility is reduced. If you hear any suspicious noises, like squealing or crunching, safely brake and pull to the side of the road. When visibility is reduced, use the white line on the right-hand side of the road to guide you. This is safer than using the center line, which will bring you closer to oncoming traffic. If visibility is reduced to the point where continuing to drive would be unsafe, you might be tempted to stop on the road, but don't. This could cause an accident. Instead, pull over to a safe area, completely off the road. Then turn on your emergency flashers or hazard lights so other drivers know you're parked and don't try to follow you. Avoid using your hazard lights when moving, however, because this is illegal in many states. So please remember, while driving in dense fog, slow down, use your low beams and fog lights. Turn on your windshield wipers and defrosters. Roll down your windows and follow the right side pavement line. And if it's too difficult to see, pull over and turn on your emergency flashers. Stay safe, and for more extreme weather driving tips, watch the next video.
All right, let's see. So these are the certain states that have certain requirements. It's quite a few, so I'll add it to the training, but it's good information to consider when you're going through these different states, and we'll post it so everybody can see it as well when they look at it through the app. All right, David, you want to keep going?
Yeah. Well, that's funny. That tape just reiterated everything I said.
Yeah.
At least I know what I'm talking about, right?
Right on point.
Okay. All right. There's a video that I have distributed to my drivers probably a month ago. It is a video of two people at a FedEx ground facility where the trailer was pulled away and they were unloading the trailer. Actually, they were unloading it, and the trailer got pulled away, and one of the workers had his foot on the dock, and 1 foot on the dock, and 1 foot on the trailer. So as the trailer was pulled away, he fell to the ground. Now, there is nothing in the video that tells me what happened to him, but that's a good 4.5, almost 5 foot drop from the dock to the ground. So that's why FedEx is really hitting the emphasis on not pulling trailers away. In fact, you are not to pull a trailer away from the dock unless you. Well, I'll give you the circumstance, but these are the things to check if you're to pull or not to pull. Okay. The new rule is you don't pull the trailer away unless you absolutely have to. Let's say you're at a company or something like that. But to pull it away from the dock, no. You need to have someone come and do it for you. But if you have to do it, because say you pull in on a Saturday night or a Sunday or whatever, and there's nobody there, you must check that the garage door is closed, okay, completely, and that if there's a light facility, a light on, make sure that the light says green. You can pull it away, but even those sometimes are inaccurate. Okay. You should make sure that sometimes it's hard to tell whether the door is closed or not. If you can't tell, then you need to call someone and say, when can I pull this away from the dock? You need to get permission to do that. But otherwise, you need to get a shifter or someone else to come and look and see if that can be pulled away. Remember, FedEx's new rule is we are not to pull trailers away from the dock. Is that clear? Everybody got that?
If you have any
Yes.
questions, unmute yourself.
No, what we're saying is that it's okay if they have to call, as you mentioned, there's no other way that they have to take a trailer from a door, call the office. Even though you see everything closed, call the office, ask for the name of the dispatcher who is giving you permission to move that trailer. Okay. Some facilities, like if you go for Lauderdale, if you go Port St. Lucie, you can enter basically into the loading area, go there, take a picture that that door was closed. Okay, protect your work, protect your job. Because our rule is to don't move it, to wait for the switcher to move the trailer, take it from the area that trailers are loaded. That's the best practice. But if you have to move it, make sure that you protect yourself. Okay.
Yeah, I want to emphasize what she just said about taking pictures. I have my drivers take pictures of closed fifth wheels, the jaws on the fifth wheel for every trip. Now they replace them; they don't have to keep them, but I will have them take a picture of the dolly and the tractor fifth wheels that they are closed. Okay. Now that sounds like overkill, but it isn't. A couple of times now we've had incidences where the dolly was bad, and there was a question as to that the driver did not check, and the driver pulled out the phone, had the picture there. It says the jaws were closed, so now they know that the defect is in the dolly. Anytime you have, and it's not just that, anything that you have where you're suspect as to whether you did your job or not, use your phone and take a picture. Okay. We have cameras in the trucks for that very reason also. It is to verify, it's for your protection, is to verify that an accident can be not your fault. Okay, I've had that incident happen too. When I first put cameras in the trucks, drivers didn't like it because they said, "Oh, you're invading my privacy." But we had a couple of incidences where trucks pulled over in front of our trucks, hit them, and then they went back to their company and said, "No. Our guy was the other truck ran into the back of us," and had talked to insurance agents. And I put the video on and showed the picture. It saved them time, effort, and it saved the driver's job having to go to court. It's a whole bunch of things. So start to use if you have an accident, somebody runs into the back of you. Had that happen. Take a picture of everything. Take a picture. Don't move the truck until you've got pictures. That's a thing that it needs to be almost second nature. Like she said, take a picture of the door. Take a picture so that way they know you checked. Okay.
Thank you, David. For the updates, Ocala is saying that to be aware that they do not load the Chewy trailers. So sometimes they say those trailers are loaded uneven and the load can shift easily. So they are saying that you need to be extra careful with those trailers, especially when you take the curves. So you really need to reduce your speed to avoid any rollover, okay? When you are approaching the seatbelt. We continue with the seatbelt conversation with FedEx. based on the camera, if an event is triggered and you don't have your seatbelt on, then we need to do a conversation with you. In the road, it's unacceptable. In the yard, they want that you have the seatbelt on at all times. When you move, they said as soon as you move that tractor, you need to have it on. Okay, so we need to start practicing that. When you are out in the road, if you don't have the seatbelt on, they are considering that now a DQ pending curative training, meaning that if an event is triggered, we need to take you out of the truck and do a training for you in order that you can come back and drive. So please make sure you have that seatbelt on at all times, okay? Peak season, remember, October 1st till January 7th. Do not ask for time off. Do not ask for vacations because we really, really need you. And we're not gonna approve vacation time, okay? Nor we're gonna pay for it. Yard coupling. As David says, make sure you take pictures of that coupling, the dolly, the chains, the pinto hook, the fifth wheel. It's for your protection. It helps our conversation with them. Even if something happened in the yard that you say, oh, nothing happened, but maybe a switcher saw you or a switcher approached you, take a picture because then it's their word against us. And let me tell you, we're losing those conversations. If someone says something, they are believing that, and doesn't matter what we say. If we don't have pictures to protect ourselves, they don't care, basically. And another thing that David mentioned is the stop in the shoulder. Stop in the shoulder only if it's a true emergency. If you need to use a restroom, stop in a rest area. If you need to eat, go to a truck stop. Break, go to a truck stop. Only use it for legit emergency like a tire blown or an accident or something that you cannot basically move your tractor more than a mile or something. You just stop there because you cannot move any longer. But if you can move, go to a safe location, okay? Another car can crash with your equipment while you're stopped or while you're trying to gain speed to go back in the lane. I don't know the ones of you that recall the video. We show one of this FedEx person tractor who was entering in the right lane. That was like 6 months ago that we showed that video. I heard that that person that hit the tractor in the back sued FedEx, and I guess he won. So make sure that you protect your life, the equipment, and the life of others, okay? Do not use that shoulder, please, unless it's a legit emergency. Beside that, please, I keep sending emails and reminding people to complete the trainings before the 15th of the month. Complete the trainings on time, please, okay? And thank you so much for everything you do every day. We really appreciate your work. Thank you.
Yeah, I want to say one more thing if I can.
Sure.
Yeah, on a curve, there's usually there's a sign that says what the speed limit is or what you should be driving as you make that curve. That is for cars. It is not for trucks. So whatever the exit speed is or whatever the curve speed is, you should be doing a lot less than that. Okay? Now, I want to emphasize that.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. We appreciate it. A lot of good information. Again, if you ever have questions or anything, feel free to reach out to us. But we thank you for your time. Have a good, safe November, and we'll talk soon.
Okay, Eric. Good day.
Okay, talk to you later.